So if you're somebody that's online, you're considering either retiring or just making a move down here to Sarasota, I want to make a video that caters to people like that. Why? Because as you can imagine, I help a ton of people relocate. And I've had a lot of people ask me, why don't you do like relocation videos? You know, what we should be looking out for. So I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. Hello everyone, this is my second video for 2026. I'm down here in Bird Key. If you guys are from the area, you've maybe visited down here, you know Bird Key is a very, very nice park. So we're down here in Bird Key. Pretty much Bird Key sits right across the way from downtown Sarasota. The Ringley Bridge, which is the bridge pretty much Sarasota is known for. It's right here, right behind me. And you can see the buildings of downtown Sarasota just out there in the distance. I also have just released 2026 relocation guide, not just Sarasota, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, Venice, Northport, pretty much all the areas around me. I took the time, put together a relocation guide. These are absolutely great because they tell you what you should be looking out for, roughly what tax costs are. Also goes into flood zones, how taxes are calculated, quite a few other things. So if you're interested in that, my contact information is down below. They're free. Just send me a message, email, text, whatever. Give me a call. Let me know you're interested in the relocation guide, and I'll gladly send one over. And it's something that's in PDF format. You can check out tons of useful information. As you guys already know, I live here. I boat here. So Sarasota, Siesta Key is certainly what I would call my stomping grounds. And on top of that, I help a lot of people relocate. So I've encountered a lot of what you can look out for. A lot of questions have obviously crossed my path. A lot of experience in helping people. So I've just gathered a lot of information, and I think I can really help you if you're looking to relocate, not just here in Sarasota, but this vicinity. First topic I do want to cover is going to be lifestyle reality. What Sarasota is really known for is obviously water lifestyle. If you're into fishing, if you're into boating, it 100% caters for people that are into that. One thing I tell people that Sarasota does not have a nightlife. It certainly does not have a big city feel. So if you're somebody that you really like nightlife, you like big city feel, Sarasota does not have that. From my experience, most people that move down here to Sarasota, it's really just a lifestyle change that they're looking for. They're people that like beaches, like boating, like fishing, and where they live, they either don't have it or they have to drive quite a ways to be able to get that. So I'd say that the top reason people move down here to Sarasota, from my experience, is people that just want a lifestyle change. Another big one that's very important is cost and daily reality. First and foremost, Sarasota, guys, I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's not cheap. It might have been cheap a few years back, maybe 3-4 years ago. But after COVID, after we had that influx of people that moved here, Sarasota has not become a cheap place at all. Home prices can actually vary quite a bit by location. So depending where you're looking for, east, west Sarasota, you'll see quite a bit of fluctuation on prices. So it's very important to know the general idea where you're looking for, because like I said, prices are going to vary quite a bit. Now, I'll use this opportunity to debug this one, and that's insurance. A lot of people, when I jump on the call or meet them the first time, they're kind of braced and ready for insurance costs, and then they get quotes and they're like, wait, this is not at all what I had heard. I thought Florida had crazy high insurance costs. I mean, we are certainly probably not the cheapest, but as far as crazy high, I don't think so. So I think a lot of people are surprised when they start getting their quotes. They're like, wait, I was expecting a lot more. Another thing to really look out for is HOA fees. HOA fees are kind of that thing that's always lingering. You know, it's a body that's kind of telling you what to do. I'm sure we can remember that time our mom, our dad, whoever was looking after us, telling us, clean your room, do this, do that. We know it's for the better, but at the end of the day, we didn't enjoy it. That's kind of how I look at HOAs. So it's very important to know if where you're looking, it has an HOA, and obviously to understand the rules. Another thing to really look out for is going to be seasonal traffic. So if you live here like I do, you're going to know that traffic varies quite a bit and it's seasonal. During the busy season, which we're actually in now, it can take you quite a bit to get from A to B, especially if you're around the beach areas. Sometimes you really have to plan to where you're going because there could be quite a bit of traffic. Another one, I want to be brutally honest with you. As nice as this weather looks, you may be looking at this and say, wow, this is your guys' winter. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? But I'll be honest with you. The summers are 100% brutal. Let me give you an example of that. It could literally be midnight, right? You walk out into your garage. I kid you not, within 10 seconds, you're sweating like no one's business. Sarasota heat, for someone that's not used to it, it certainly will take you about some time to get used to it, but I've learned to enjoy it and work with it. You know, a lot of us spend our times either inside or out on the water, but at times it can get pretty miserable. Another thing that's very common here, especially during the summer, one would think during the winters when we have our rain, we actually typically get it during the summer. So most of our rain falls during the summer. Generally speaking, we almost have a storm every single day after about 3 to 4 o'clock. It's very common. Now, these storms don't last very long, but you pair that with the nasty heat and humidity, it can get pretty nasty right after one of these rainstorms. And if you've never experienced Florida rain, the water, the wind is crazy. I never knew that amount of water can fall from the sky. So if you're not used to it, you're certainly going to be surprised the first time around. Where you live matters. So I know we all want a beach idea, but we also want daily conveniences. Generally, people that live closer to the beach or on the barrier islands, you got to leave the island, go through all that traffic to go to your Target, to go to your Walmart, to go to your Publix, do your grocery shopping. A lot of these barrier islands don't have a lot of conveniences. So a lot of times you have to balance out, look, do I want to be by the beach or do I want daily conveniences at my fingertips? West Sarasota versus East Sarasota. Obviously, East Sarasota is going to be a little bit further away from the beaches. West Sarasota is going to be your closest to the beaches. And you got to just figure out what fits your needs a little bit more. Do you want to be a little bit closer to the water? You know, maybe deal with a little bit more traffic during seasonal times, or you're okay with traveling 20, 30 minutes to get to the beach. Now, I've covered HOAs and what to look out for. As much as a lot of people dislike HOAs, a lot of people do like them. There's a certain security they bring, as well as give you a good sense of value that your value is going to hold year over year, because they're not going to let, you know, one of your neighbors start parking cars or boats on their lawn or paint their house a ridiculous color. So to some extent, HOAs I don't think are bad, but it has to be obviously something you're willing to do. In Sarasota, we do have new construction and old construction, which I call resale. So you got to figure, are you somebody that wants newer construction? It probably won't have a lot of updates. Or you're okay with getting something that's a resale that an owner has poured love, sweat, tears, more importantly, money into the property to add a ton of updates, whereas you typically wouldn't get on a new construction. Another big important one to look out for is going to be flood zones. Flood zones literally vary street by street. So only because you looked at one street that had mainly X flood zone does not mean the next street behind it or over to the side of it is going to be flood zone X rated. So it's very important. Next up is going to be common surprises. Number one, I think, is insurance costs. And I don't think in a bad way. Like I mentioned before, I think a lot of people, when they start seeing quotes on insurance costs, they're really surprised that it's not as high as they thought they had read or maybe even heard. Again, I'm not trying to say we're the cheapest across the country, but I think a lot of people get surprised. A lot of them will call me and say, is this all I got to pay? I'm like, yeah, that's the insurance cost. And they're really surprised because they've been primed and ready. You know, media and social media really states that we have crazy high prices. So when they see that cost, they're like, oh, wait, that's actually not as bad as I thought. Another thing that I think a lot of people don't pay attention to, and generally you're not going to realize this till after year one, maybe even year two. If you buy a home closer to the water, there's what's called salt spray. There's a lot of salt that'll travel up in the air, and that'll really wreak havoc on homes. You'll notice that homes that are closer to the water need a lot more upkeep, need to be repainted more often, fixtures replaced, just because the salt really corrodes almost everything it touches. So if you're looking at a property that's close to the water, even if not on the water, keep in mind that maintenance costs will be up there. Another big one to look out for is rules. So even if you're not in an HOA, it's very important to know the rules by the city or the county. A lot of people that move down here think they can Airbnb really whenever they want, and that's absolutely not the case. Also, a lot of people buy in a non-HOA community thinking they can park a boat, you know, on their property wherever they want. That's also not the case. So it's very important, wherever you're buying, even if it's not an HOA, to make sure you know the rules and regulations so you don't get the city or county knocking on your doorstep. So who is Sarasota good for? Well, it's certainly someone that's into boating, outdoor lifestyle, families, retirees, remote workers, and a ton of other ones. The main driver that Sarasota brings is people that just love the water. Now, there's also people out there that Sarasota might not be a fit for. That's for people seeking a big city or an entertaining nightlife. Because I'll tell you what, if you've never been to Sarasota and you visit and you go out at 8:30, 9 o'clock and you see all the restaurants are closed, you're going to be like, wait, what's going on here? That was my first experience when I came here. I'm from California. In California, you could be out at midnight and restaurants are still open. So it was a very big surprise when I came here to realize at 8, 9 o'clock, restaurants are pretty much starting to close. So as I mentioned before, I live here, I boat here. I know Sarasota, Siesta Key very well. And if you're someone that's maybe considering to make a move, not just down here at Sarasota and Siesta Key, but any surrounding area down here, I know the areas and the neighborhoods really well. More importantly, I know exactly what to look out for, especially if you're someone that's not from Sarasota. If you're someone that's considering making a move, even if not now, maybe in a couple years from now, when you retire or when the time does come, all my contact information is down below. Like I said, I have full PDF relocation guides for not just Sarasota, Siesta Key, but pretty much all the surrounding areas. So if you guys would like one, those are free. Contact me, email me, call me, whatever. I'll shoot it over, email it over. Like I said, they're free. I don't charge anything for them, and they're very detailed. They're a lot more detailed than this video. So if you guys would like that, all my contact information is down below. So that's going to be it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to get out. Look at that water, guys. It's crystal clear. You can literally see the bottom of it. So I'm going to get on with my day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I have a lot more of these videos coming up. The next videos are going to be in more detail. So they're pretty much going to cover what I covered here, but they're going to go in a lot deeper, such as flood zones. I'll go into the ratings and what you want to look for, insurance and how to properly shop for it, what to look for in your home inspection. I mean, the list goes on and on. So if that's something that interests you, like I said, even if you're not buying here, if you're just moving here to Sarasota, even if you're not going to use me, I think it's great information you can use to better educate you. So when you do decide to make your move down here, you're going to be an absolute pro. So thank you guys very much for watching. That's going to be it on today's video. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.